Britain's new king has visited Wales for the first time since becoming monarch.
King Charles III, accompanied by his wife, the Queen Consort, told the Welsh Parliament that the country had held a special place in his mother's heart. The visit's part of a tour of the United Kingdom in the wake of the death of Queen Elizabeth II last week.
Well, the Queen's state funeral will involve London's biggest ever security operation for a single event.
With huge crowds travelling to the city, plus the arrival of dozens of world leaders, policing the capital throughout Sunday and Monday will be a huge challenge. Well, Kenn Griffiths is a counter-terrorism and security expert, and he joins us now. Welcome to the programme, Ken. So this will obviously be a huge event in terms of security. London police saying the biggest they've ever dealt with. What will the biggest challenges be, do you think?
Well, a simple one, of course, is keeping everybody safe and sound. The amount of crowds that you've got in the areas at the time, that's a big issue, obviously. And then you've got the issues of looking after the royal family and also the dignitaries which are coming from...
Well, Ken, we have a few sound problems, but we're going to try and carry on if we can. Obviously, another big issue is a lot of heads of state, world leaders, coming to this funeral. That must add to the security concerns.
Yes, absolutely. Bear in mind, though, Robin, that over the years, this has been practiced time and time again. So it isn't as though they're doing it without any knowledge of what they should be doing in the future. And clearly what they've done over the years, they've had reruns of these kind of events to try and work out all of the snags that they need to get through to allow these dignitaries to come to the UK and be safe while they're here.
So how do you police something like this? What will it actually involve? We've heard about security on rooftops and even in manholes. How do you police it? What's put in place?
Right, OK. Well, you start off with intelligence first and foremost, which has been gathered over a number of years. Bear in mind, the UK is probably one of the best countries in the world to hold this kind of an event, simply because we've had plenty of practice in the past. Not as big as this one. I think the last one this big was Winston Churchill's funeral back in the 60s. That was a big affair as well. So we've got that in place. So we've got intelligence behind this which leads the policing and leads the security services as to where they should be placed, what the manpower should be. They brought in over 1,000 officers from different areas, certainly from where I live in the middle of the UK. 1,000 officers have gone from here down to the metropolitan area. So all of that's gone on, and so the policing of that is the first thing. The second thing, of course, is to make sure that if there's any known threats at the time, terrorists are in the country that are being looked at, then all of those are being monitored minute by minute.
And the state funeral happening on Monday, of course, and it comes after days of a long policing operation already, including policing the queue. How will that add to the pressure?
Well, it's all pressure from the very start. And as I say, it isn't as though we haven't planned this. That queue that you're talking about, that queue has been thought about years ago, absolutely years ago, that they thought if this, in the event of this happening, the Queen's death and then the funeral of the Queen, how will we police it? One of the things they said was, well, you know, she will lie in state. And how will we get around that? How will we manage the crowds? And so they put in that plan many, many years ago, and they've tried and tested this time and time again. So it isn't as though they're, you know, stabbing in the dark. What they're doing is they're reacting to situations that they knew one day they would have to react to. So that does help.
OK, Kenn Griffiths, thank you very much indeed for joining us today and sharing your thoughts.